month. There's an obvious step to help you right in front of you by calling American Financing. Call them right now. It's American Financing. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The Bone, WHPT, Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete, and now on 97.1 WSUNHD2, Holiday, Tampa, St. Pete. Live from the WeatherTight Windows studio. Now, back to Real Raw Radio. Sponsored by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Happy Hour. Happy Hour.
I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
From the Autoglass America studios, it's the Mike Calta After Show.
Is this thing on? Word. So what, we get drunk.
Oh, we do.
So what, we don't sleep.
Life short.
We're just having fun. We don't care who sees.
It's going to make some Bone listeners feel old, but this reminds me of the class of 2012. I'd be going to underage drinking parties that I was allegedly not really invited to, but the way it would roll was it was like interning at a radio show or like working in promotions. Like I would give my foot in a door at the popular parties. I would hit up the like kids that were kind of cool and I'd be like, hey, can you get me into this underage drinking party? And then all of a sudden, man, this song would be playing.
But we don't sleep. We're just having fun.
And this was like pre-social media, so all you might have is like a Twitter picture in 2011. But now, there's no way you could have an underage drinking party because of social media. Hey, this is Ryan Hoppe. I'm in for Carmen on the Mike Calta After Show on 102.5 The Bone, doing my podcast, Hoppe Hour, which can be found on every single platform by searching up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. And call the show, 727-579-1025 and 1-800-771-1025. You can tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio, and you can always email me, ryanhopperadio@gmail.com. Up next, I'm going to let you guys know what's up next on The Bone, even though I know you know. Roger and JP with Monica and Brett from 11 to 2. And then we have Drew Garabo live with John Senning and Joey Flash. And we have the Cat Named Mo Show, Johnny B, and then it begins all over tomorrow. So a lot happened this weekend in the NFL. My favorite part, I would say, about the NFL playoffs, no, it's not watching the best of the best go at it. No, it's not hearing Joe Buck be corny. Or Tony Romo have a complete and utter bias for the Cowboys where I thought I was watching the home team's broadcast. What I love about the NFL playoffs is when teams choke and you have a memorable moment that will forever be on that player's name. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, remember, I think his name was Kyle Williams from the 49ers in 2012, and he, like, dropped that punt, and that was what caused the Giants to go to the Super Bowl, and I think they had Alex Smith as quarterback. Like, no one ever cared that maybe he had another touchdown that went great. Everybody remembers Kyle Williams dropping the ball. But I thought this was a huge moment for Dak Prescott's legacy this weekend. Because he never wins any big games from the Dallas Cowboys. It's utterly ridiculous. And I actually was hoping he would win so that the Bucs could play him. Because I'm a little nervous about them playing the Rams. Because Matthew is pretty good at playing quarterback. I'm saying that like I'm friends with him. But it's funny when you watch the NFL playoffs. There's a lot of times players just come out of nowhere and do great. Mario Manningham catching that catch for Eli Manning in the 2012 Super Bowl against the Patriots, and then David Tyree catching the one in 2008 against the Patriots as well with Eli Manning. There are always players who are average during the year who come up and do great. And at the same time, there are always players who fizzle. In the past, it was Phillip Rivers. Matt Ryan hasn't been good for a minute. But oh my goodness, I think it's time, Tampa Bay. And let me know what you think. Because Tampa Bay is a very good football town. A lot of football towns don't know their football. They just know what's going on, like Cleveland. A lot of football towns don't really know what's going on besides what's in their town. But what I like about Tampa Bay is I feel like the average Tampa Bay fan wants to know what the competition is, and they're always in the loop. So they know what's going on with the Falcons, they know what's going on with the Panthers, they know what's going on with the Saints. I think that's the whole NFC South. And they're always in tune. So I want to ask you guys, what is going on with Dak Prescott choking every time in the playoffs or in the regular season when they just beat okay or decent teams, but then choke against elite teams? I think we have this funny thing where we love to live in the past. And we definitely do, because everybody has a fascination with the 90s. And what I love about that fascination is it comes with everybody comparing professional athletes to Michael Jordan, or comparing people to Joe Montana, or the Cowboys of the 90s. And I have some really depressing news to tell you, Tampa. That was 4 decades ago. The amount of time between 1950 to 1990 essentially is going to be that in about 10 years between 1990 and 2030. I did the math. We need to quit living in the past. Just because the Dallas Cowboys were good for about 30 years, but they haven't been good for the last 30 years, and quarterbacks like Trent Dilfer, who are okay, have more playoff wins than the Cowboys since 1997, 98. Guess what was happening the last time the Cowboys won? Lion King was the most purchased VHS. DVDs weren't even around yet. And everybody lives in the past. Everybody goes, oh my God, the 1990s. Oh my God, Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are awful. And there's something in the mindset of Dak Prescott where I don't think he's a leader. He's nice to people. He's known as a good dude. Obviously, he's going through some pain with losing some of his family members over the years. But oh my goodness, every time it's time for him to just be good, he's not. Like running in the middle of the field when you have no timeouts and not knowing the ball had to go to the ref first. It's just common sense. And no, I'm not saying I could go out there and play quarterback, because I couldn't at all. I tried out for quarterback in 2008 when I was a freshman, and my passes were awful. Because my logic was I'm going to be a quarterback like the cool quarterbacks in the movies, like Superbad, that got laid, and that was going to lead me to getting laid, which it didn't work. I was 21 when I got laid. But what I'm saying is when I tried out for quarterback, my passes were awful. And my coach said, are you really trying to play quarterback? And I never went to practice again. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I would be a good leader, you know what I mean, as a quarterback. But enough of this defending of a player not knowing what's going on in the moment. In the way that Dak Prescott makes so much money that that's his job. And when you're running in the middle of the field with no timeouts, you quite possibly might be an idiot. Now, you can say, well, here's what happened. He got nervous, but I don't care. That would be like if I came to board off the Mike Calta show and I pressed all the wrong buttons and then I blamed it on everybody else and never took accountability. Which I'm not trying to manifest the past, but every single time I have messed up in the past, I've always taken accountability. So here's what happened. There were Dallas Cowboy fans who were throwing things on the field. And a reporter asked Dak Prescott, hey, what did you think about the fans throwing the things on the field? And Dak Prescott goes, oh, I thought that was gross, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody said they were throwing it at the fans. And Dak Prescott said, yeah, that's cool. And that to me is why he will never win a Super Bowl, because he was not a man. He was not a grown-up to take accountability. He blamed everybody else, and that is why the Dallas Cowboys are irrelevant, and that is why their coach, Mike McCarthy, is lucky that Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback when he won a Super Bowl, because he is horrendous. He is awful. He also has more money than me, but I am skinnier than him. Hi, you're on the Mike Calta After Show Hoppe Hour taking over. Who's this?
This is Tony.
What's happening, Tony? What's going on?
Hey, man, I just got to say, Dak hasn't been looking too hot in his last couple games, especially the game against Arizona.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and then I want to ask you your opinion on Arizona. But real quick, I want to ask you, I just think there's a culture at the Cowboys of losing, because when I think it was Jerry Jones' son was like nervously walking back and forth behind him, and then he realized he was on camera. And that to me is the opposite of BDE and a winning mentality when you know you're going to lose. But I was thinking about it. I was like, Dak is no different than Tony Romo. I don't know what the mindset is, bro, but the Cowboys, every time you need, even in the first week that they played the Bucs, like they're never able to close it out. And I don't know what's missing there. I truly don't know if it's Jerry Jones being the owner, but there's some energy, bro, where every time you're like, the Cowboys are going to be different. They never, ever are, bro.
Yeah, the injuries, I think, definitely weren't their problem this year. I just think playing an extra week and Dak performing very poorly, I don't know what's going on, but
I just don't like that he's like blaming other people. Like he's like agreeing with the fans for throwing things. Because to me, man, if you were throwing things on the field, you were just a disgrace to sports fans. Because a lot of my girlfriend's friends will kind of do that thing where they're like, ooh, you like sports ball? Like trying to demean me because I like sports. You know what I mean? That like attitude. And that's because whenever somebody thinks of sports fans, if they don't watch sports, they think of the idiots that throw things on field. You know what I mean?
Cowboys game, but someone was throwing a roll of toilet paper out there, man. I don't know if you could look back on that, but
dude,
ridiculous.
Can you imagine if you did that in March or April 2020? That would have been like, people would have been diving for that toilet paper. That's very bizarre. Do you ever think about that, going back that we were fighting over toilet paper just 2 years ago?
Yeah, I just told people to take a shower, but, whatever. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, throwing things at players, and it's very childish. Don't expect anything less from the Dallas Cowboys organization. So,
and I mean, it's just weird. Like what I love too, I think the person who was the cameraman for the game was quite possibly probably not a fan of the Cowboys, because they were showing the douchebags that were watching the game that were sad, and I'm like, what are you crying over? They don't know who you are. I used to cry over sports, and then I moved out of my house, and now I have to pay rent, and I don't cry anymore about sports. But I get it. But if you're a grown man or woman or whatever you identify as, and you're crying over a team that's worth billions of dollars, and you might be worth up to $200,000, you got to get your priorities together.
Yeah, spending $100-something million on a quarterback for 3 playoff wins since the 90s is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Kaepernick was good, though. Everybody, whatever you want to say about Kaepernick, but he was good. It was just that it's weird. I'm beginning to realize that I have a good memory about sports that I watch. It was at the end of that game against the Ravens, he threw that bad pass. He was really close to winning a Super Bowl. Everyone wants to knock on Kaepernick, but Kaepernick was good when he was good.
Oh, they won that. The Ravens won that Super Bowl for Ray Lewis. Come on, it was, lights out. Come on, man.
And nobody talks about the fact that Joe Flacco didn't have an interception in this playoffs. Well, my man, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. I got a full board of calls to get to, but I appreciate talking to you. Thanks, homie. I'm going to go on the line that these calls came in. I don't know why I said that, because it has nothing to do with you guys, but I just did. I'm giving you Radio 101. Hi, you're on the air. What's your name?
Dave. Hey.
I'm doing great. Do you have it on Bluetooth or speaker? Is it off now?
I'm talking on my Brokeback Galaxy S21.
You're good, bro. That's probably why. What's happening?
I want to say that, first and foremost, you were absolutely owning the airspace this morning. I absolutely love this energy, man. get enough time on air, in my personal opinion. I know we've had a couple of conversations on the radio about that before, but I mean, this is really nice. So how are you feeling about the Buccaneers going up against the Hoppe, sorry, pun intended, offense we have going on here next weekend?
So I am no football analyst. I'm not really like an expert, so I'm not going to be able to break down the X's or O's. But I will tell you that Matthew, every time you need him to be elite for the Lions or for the Rams, they always choke. And last night, Kyler Murray looked like hot Vince Young 2010 garbage. So I think if we can get interceptions off of Matthew, we can win. I don't think this is as far-fetched. It's just we can't have drop passes, and we need to not allow him to throw 400 yards because he can be awful. There are times that I go, who is that guy? And then there's times I go, how are you now winning more? So I really think if we can contain Matthew, that's the way to win. That's the only way.
Yes. Anyway, I think Vita Vea being healthy, JVP being healthy, I think that is going to be very, very pivotal coming up going on because we need to be showing up on defense, but more importantly, we need to make sure that Evans is untouchable. We can't afford to lose another guy in the secondary at all.
Yeah, I very much agree. This is where I run out of things to say about the Buccaneers, but I do appreciate the call. You know what I mean, man? I appreciate you. You too, homie. All right, one last call before we go to break. Hi, from the 863. You're on the air.
Hey, Hoppe. Good talking to you, buddy.
What's happening?
Hey, so correct me if I'm wrong, but were you the astronaut in the Lightning games?
Yes, sir. That was 2016 Malectronic with Ben Malik. I made it on SportsCenter. I was blowing kisses at the Detroit Red Wings, which I am not really a Blackhawk fan. I became a Tampa Bay Lightning fan when I moved here because everybody became a Blackhawk fan and jumped on the bandwagon and I was grossed out. So I'm more of a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. But I will say growing up in Chicago, I had utter hatred for everything Detroit. I think it's a despicable city. I think it's gross and I hate all their sport teams. So when I was in the booth, I was blowing kisses at the Red Wings and annoying them. And it felt amazing because I just despise that city.
Well, I was wondering, why don't you ever get back to that then, or do it for, the Buccaneers or the Lightning again? I mean, you went pretty viral. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
that was me. I'll have to hit up Ben Malik, which his website is malectronic.com, and he's a huge friend of my Calta show. And I'm not just saying this because I'm friends with Ben. He's truly got the best headphones. Like, he's a beast.
Go viral, put the name out there. I mean, you see some of these fans on like the Raiders or Saints or Vikings that are just, you see them and you know who they are because they've been a fan. They're like an icon, like a little mascot without being a mascot. So you're like, okay, why don't you think about getting back on that? That was pretty cool. Get some views, maybe YouTube videos where you can get some money, I heard. Videos, I guess.
Hey, man, do you want to be my agent? You're pretty good at this.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's set it up.
All right, hit me up on Facebook. I appreciate you. All right, one last call. All right, and then we got to go to break. Hi, 941, you're on the air.
Oh, name out there?
My name's JP.
What's happening, JP?
How's it going, man?
I'm just talking to you. What's up?
Oh, I thought it was Spencer. Excuse me. Yeah, what I got to say is, man, when are you going to drink some bleach and go croak somewhere, bro?
During this commercial break.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.